No one could have wished for a better start to the ABSA Off-Road Championships as crews headed out onto the 119-kilometre West Loop. Cox and Pitchford were still in the lead in the proudly South African Nissan hardbody, but only just. Teammates Krobler and Jordan had closed the gap quite dramatically, and Woolridge and Schulthammer weren't far behind either. Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau were no longer under any major threat. Weir Smith had retired when an oil cooler on the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco burst, and the rest of the Class A challengers were a long way off. However, the Class B leaders were in second place and only 9 minutes adrift, and something as simple as a puncture could rob Berthold of the lead. Class D leaders Schroeder and Harris managed to keep the rest of the Class D challengers at bay, but had to be wary because Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin were trailing by 1 minute and starting to mount a challenge for the lead. Moore and McLaughlin were models of consistency in the Connex Chenoweth and had moved up to third overall in the special vehicle category, whilst Castrol Toyota crew Hugo and Jaap de Bruin had a 6-minute advantage over second place Class E crew. Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin did not have the best of times in the Castrol Toyota Hilux and had dropped down the order after hitting a tree and damaging the right front suspension. The Class S leaders Richard Chilling and Chris Davies were no longer under threat as well. Their rivals Nardis Alberts and Colin Hunter and Nick Gosler and Jacob Robertson had retired. Marsh and Whitehouse, however, followed in the Nashua Mobile Bat Spec 1, and they in turn were being chased by Carl van der Merwe in the Class B Orco. Clint Gibson and Marcel Trethuri in the Gibson Plant Hire Bat had developed an electrical problem of some kind by the looks of it. Cliff and Louis Weichelt were in third place in Class D and trailing Cronje and Birkin by 6 minutes, while Visser and Badenhorst were still around 5 minutes behind the De Bruins and second in Class E in the Tyco Trucks Toyota. Pierce and Chadwick were third in Class E, only 2 minutes behind Visser and Badenhorst to make it a Toyota 1-2-3 in Class E. Johan van Jaarsveld and Marlene Lindeque were third in the Class B Pro ASCO, which he designed and built himself. Looks like there's drama here for Rourke and Ryan McLean.
I don't know, this side shouldn't break off at all. We haven't hit anything, so I mean, if anything, that side should break off. So I think it's some metal fatigue or something.
No metal fatigue up front here. A new leader, Hannes Krobler and Francois Jordan, managed to overtake the proudly South African Nissan teammates Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford when the leaders moved over to let them through. Cox and Pitchford led for the first 99 kilometers of the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 and impressed all with their cool approach to a brand new challenge, which augurs well for the reigning Class D champions. Neil Woolridge and Kenny Schulthammer were very much in touch with the leading Nissans. There was concern because they'd clipped a tree stump and damaged the front right steering arm on the Ford Racing Ranger. There was no stopping the special category vehicles though of Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau, who briefly lost the lead to Class B leaders Evan Hutchinson and Trevor Ormerod when they stopped to replace a flat wheel on the advanced soft bat. The Motorride racing crew were still going well and would be difficult to beat. Back in Class D, Manfred Schroeder and Alec Harris were in their element and still leading. They had opened up a monstrous lead of 8 minutes over Cliff and Louis Weichelt, who were 1 minute ahead of Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin. Hugo and Yacht the Brain still held down the lead in Class E, while S leaders Richard Schilling and Chris Davies were seconds behind Terence Marsh and Michael Whitehouse, who had moved into second place in Class A. Schilling and Davies were heading for an embarrassing retirement. They only carried one spare wheel, and as fate would have it, they picked up 2 punctures in quick succession. Hannes Grobler and Francois Jordan were the first crew to arrive at the designated service point at the Beaumont Eston Farmers Club, where all the competitors were subject to a compulsory 15-minute stop. Team Ford Racing, Woolridge and Scholthammer were second and only 14 seconds behind the leader.
It was very tough. You know, it's a normal Sugarbelt route, very enjoyable, of course, scenic, but tough to find the route. The turnoffs are quite tricky to find in the sugarcane. We were lucky to pass Alfie at one stage. We caught right up between him in the sugarcane, and we managed to pass him, but we were lucky so far not to get flat tires. But enjoyable, very tough there.
I don't know if it was Alfie or Hannes that was holding us all up a bit, sort of holding the gaggle up a bit, so we've been eating dust all morning. We predicted it would be a wet race, but I don't think they've seen rain here for a long time. It actually looks like they're going to be in trouble in winter. It's very, very dry. The grass is actually very, very slippery. So yeah, we've had a trouble-free run, just the dust to put it in, but just before the decontrol we clipped a stump on the right-hand side, and we punctured a wheel. Fortunate to be able to change it in the decontrol time. But we've done a bit of damage to the right front. It just doesn't feel 100%, so we'll have to see how we go.
Everything okay with the Nissan crew though, and Grobler and Jordan were on their way to start the second loop. But where were Cox and Pitchford? Hazel Cox more anxious than most and very relieved when hubby arrived on the scene. Alfie's son Bradley, also a concerned bystander.
No, well, we got to the decontrol and then it wouldn't start. Nobody can help us, so we had to push it sort of like on an uphill. We managed to get it to the D road, got it started, and then just about 20 k's from here there's a very sharp uphill hairpin right, and it stalled again and we were stuck. And we've been there for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes trying to push the car to get it back down the track to start it. So other than that, it's been going really good. I mean, and we were 1, 2, 3 up to the decontrol, and that's what happens. That's racing.
How did it feel leading from idea?
No, it felt really great. I mean, then I let Hannes pass, and then Neil, we pulled another minute, and Neil came back, and lucky for Neil, he got a puncture in the decontrol. He didn't lose any time, but after it's racing, so we'll carry on, 2 more laps, give it everything we got.
I'm enjoying it a lot. Time for change. A lot harder, rougher, harder on the body. A lot more work to do, but nice to count an off-road driver down for a change. Nice when a driver says, wow, never knew a navigator could count him down. So there we go, but I'm enjoying it.
Bat Racing Supremo Brandon Harkes was on hand to assist his numerous bat customers.
It's been a good lap so far. We're first in Class B. I think overall Class A we're also running quite high, second place. Keep telling myself that we're not racing Class A, we just need to race against the Class B guys. But our motorized bat is flying. I'm very happy with it, the setup is good, the power is good, and it's very tight and technical, so I think that's why the Class A guys are battling with the bigger cars. But so far so good. My navigator hasn't given me one wrong call, which has really made it easy. But we're only halfway, it's another 200 k's to go. So hopefully we can back it off a little bit and just bring it to the end.
A faulty battery was the cause of the problems on the Cox Nissan, and he gets underway.
Vandaag gaan het de weerslag beter, ja. Nee, ons voorste dip het ongelukkig losgekomen. En ons hoop kan het vinnig wegkry. En verder in dis ongelooflike goed gemerkte races hier. Die bane is uitstekend gemerkt. En ek dink dit is maar groot deel van die sukses wat ons tot nou toe het.
Yeah, unfortunately we ran into a bit of a snag. All was running well, and we came down a section of road with off-camber contour, and it just, as we hit it, we just hit it slightly too hard and pitched us into the trees. And we hit it with the right front, pulled the wheel alignment out, and yeah, I've been struggling ever since. But the gearbox feels good, the car really feels good. I'm hoping that once the wheel alignment's up and straight, we'd get back onto pace.
Yeah, the Toyota Kestrel Hilux was performing well this morning. I mean, we took 25 cars, we moved up quite nicely in the field. But clearly the problem we had yesterday is related to obviously a mounting or something, you know, that has moved the engine. Because as you can see here, the clearance from the engine to where the spark plug leads go is basically non-existent. So what it has done is damaged the two leads, and hence you can see the airbox as well as fouled against the bonnet. And I think this has been the end result yesterday of the cable jumping off as well. So something shifted, and yeah, can't run much on 2 cylinders, so that was the end of the game.
The Batman Brandon Hawk is still hard at work on the iTech Bat.
We're going well in the morning, chasing my brother. We started 1 minute and 13 behind him. We got down to 56 seconds, but car was full of fuel. But 220 litres, it was too hard to catch him with it, so I had to back off. We just rolled it on an off-camber, very slow corner into the cane, but we landed upside down. Couldn't get the belts undone. Took about 17 minutes, got going again, had a puncture in the D-control section, and otherwise, car's beautiful. And now we're going to hammer hard, and we're going to get them. It's only the finish that counts. Got 200 k's to go, and I'm sure these guys are going to hurt themselves still. So, thanks. We're going to get them bad.
Gavin Cronje and Robin Houghton have had a tough day in the cockpit of their Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i so far.
Yeah, we made some good progress. We had a puncture, and then got through that, and the last 60 k's we were going without the front diff, so it's a bit tricky on the grass with just a real drive, very slippery, very sideways. So hopefully we can get that fixed to carry on. Guys, last one.